Nerdrotic.com.
Welcome, travelers, to the fringes of reality, where the strange and mysterious meet, and the thin veil between fact and fiction is torn. Welcome to the Forbidden Frontier.
You're beautiful. Listening out there. You're beautiful. And they all end at the same time. They're so well trained, too. We've got a trained audience. It's highly coordinated.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Forbidden Frontier. Right off the bat, totally know what happened. I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. This is
too.
Yeah, we're at length. We can talk about it tomorrow on my Rumble exclusive live stream. But for this one, we're going to talk about Easter Island and some other fun stuff with a really cool guest before we get to introducing her. Hello, Garrett. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? Having a good
fantastic
little weekend here. It's good time. I'm excited to hear about Easter Island. It's one of the places I would like to go. It's on my list of locations for this show to go to. So I'm getting a little bit of intel before we go there. So excited.
Yeah. My son wants to go. We'll get into it about me and flying that far into the most remote island in the world. We'll get into
Come on.
With like no resources and
yeah, I want to hear about the whole trip, like everything.
Yeah. Adam Crigler, Papa
Hello.
Adam.
It's true.
How's the bitty baby?
He's almost 3 weeks now.
Oh,
He's amazing. He was just sleeping on my lap for the past 2 hours while I was just sitting here doing research, and I had to pass him off. And as soon as I did, he woke up and started crying. I'm like, not my problem.
He loves his daddy. Hey,
yeah,
you know,
it's true.
It's a good thing.
Can I say he's a daddy's boy? And anyway, it's great. I love life as a dad. I mean, he's just a little human slug right now, so it's a little, life is what it is. But I can't wait till he starts talking, till he starts going to movies with me and showing him, the wonders of the movie Stargate and how great it is. So just life.
TV show is really good. I like the TV show
and the movie.
And the movie. The movie was great.
It's fun.
Wait. You know what? Real quick. I know we haven't introduced her yet, but I have to ask. Johanna, have you seen the movie Stargate? The old one, James Spader.
Yes, of course I have. Yes.
Good movie,
Actually,
bad movie?
Good movie. And actually one of my favorite hobbies is collecting original movie like T-shirt memorabilia. And I have a collection of original Stargate T-shirts.
No!
From 94, and they are so cool. We don't make them the same anymore.
Yo! We got 3v1 right now. This is fantastic. 3v1.
Stargate movie supremacy.
Suck it, Gary.
I like pineapple on pizza. Okay. I am used to being marginalized and a minority in this. It's fine. I'm okay with it. I'd like to introduce our guest who started popping up on my feed because I go, I follow Randall Carlson, everything they do, Uncharted X, and she just started popping up. And then we covered a couple of things that you did a brilliant voiceover for, by the way. Barabar. Am I saying? I always want to say Barabar.
Barabar.
Yes, and both the French documentaries, right? That you were. I have questions, by the way, but that's how we found you. Everybody, warm welcome for Johanna James. Thank you for being here. Yeah.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me. And yeah, I did. I got to the privilege of voicing over the English versions of the Builders of the Ancient Mystery documentaries and Barabar. And they've asked me to come back for the next one in November. So I'm really excited.
Cool.
I'm going to keep making them.
Excellent. Because those are really good.
Yeah.
Those are
They're
really, really
such
good.
good quality science-based ancient history, sort of ancient technology documentaries. And but they're a French company, a really awesome French production team, and they've made a couple of movies previously in French. And then when they did their English translation for BAM, unfortunately, the truth of the story is they hired a girl who said that she spoke English, but she didn't really. And so when they put out their like English version, it didn't really make any sense. And I got put in contact with them via Ben from Uncharted X, and I volunteered my services. I was like, hey, I'm an actor. If you want to like have an English voice, I will 100% offer my services because I think your movie's brilliant. And they were like, yes, please come to Paris. Let's record. And I helped them translate it because they were basically using sort of Google Translate to get it across, and some of the stuff was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're great. Did you do? I heard a rumor in the second documentary, the Barabar documentary. Did you do a lot of the male voices? Is that AI too? Like you perform?
Yes, I voice
That's
everything.
wild.
Well, not actually. There's one other guy did help that, but there was 12 stone experts that they interviewed for Barabar, and they were like, basically, what we're going to do is we're going to get you to just say the dubbing, the English dub, because they were French experts, and they were like, just your own voice, talk normally, but we're going to tweak it and make you sound male. So I did like slightly different accents, but of my voice, and then and even while I'm watching it, and I'm going, that's a man, that's great. But now it's actually me doing all the dubs.
Yeah, really
cool.
Really well done.
Sing the theme tune, make the theme tune.
Yeah, you know what I really liked about those, because I'm a soundtrack nerd, is the music in those is fantastic. I wish the soundtrack to that is so good, especially BAM. Like it's great to go to sleep to at night. It's awesome. Yeah, it's my
They asked me to go out to Barabar. They said, do you want to, after I did BAM, they were like, do you want to come out and be in the documentary? But I had quite a busy year because I was bouncing between Turkey and Egypt. And also they didn't quite sell it to me because they also were telling me just how intense and insane it is, a journey to get out to Barabar, because it's so remote. There's no hotels, there's no restaurants, there's not a lot of food. They were sleeping in like people's basically like wooden barns. They didn't have any blankets. It's freezing at night and hot in the day. I was like, do you know what? I'm good. I'll just do the voice and you guys go get the footage. And I'll wait till a few Airbnbs pop up in a couple of years and then I'll go.
Yeah.
Okay, so you haven't been there yet.
So I haven't been there myself, but but people think I have, because in the script they want to talk on a very team basis. So they're saying like, and then we saw this and then we did that, and people go, they assume that I've been there.
Right.
You sold it though. You sold it, and we covered it extensively on 2 shows. Got hit, but that's okay. It's worth it. Like copyright claim, whatever. We might have shown too much footage. I don't know. But that's the way it goes. Visual aids.
Understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, because it's so hard to describe to someone who doesn't know what you're talking about. You're like, it's a cave, but a cave is the wrong word for what they are.
Yeah, it's not just
2
a
questions. Cave. You answered one, was whether or not you had been there or not. But 2 is just about the Barabar caves. What your opinion on it? Because you were translating for them, but I want to hear what you think about them. Like, who do you think built them? Like, what do you think about them?
Oh, I think I definitely don't think it was commissioned by Ashoka and the kings that they've been attributed to in history.
Right.
There are inscriptions on some, not all of the caves, and some of them have double inscriptions. You've got a little bit going on, a bit similar to Egypt, where you have kind of 2 kings putting their name on one.
I gave them to the bums, and it's like,
yeah,
where did you find them?
And the inscription, the translation, it doesn't talk at all about creating them, making them. Like, nobody actually takes credit for making the caves, just gifting them, or like inheriting them, passing them on. So I just don't think, like, just logically, like, use your noggin. I was like, I don't think it was those guys. I don't think they understood what they were passing on, because if they understood, I don't think they would have just given it to the common folk, the peasant folk, as shelters for the rain. there's way too much going on scientifically, and I'm not sure if they're going back yet. I need to speak to the team, but on the last trip, which is why I was so excited at Cosmic Summit to like try and relay the information, because I think a lot of attention goes, rightly so, to Egypt and Turkey, but ancient India, it's a strong competition for lost ancient technology, because it's a real head scratcher how they even who designed this, and like how, and it's so complicated. And each cave, even though they're all completely different shapes and sizes, they all have the same function with sound, and they're all tuned to, well, at least 3 of them for sure are tuned to the same sound frequency, that's a whole lot of mathematics to make things different sizes and all of them be like perfectly tuned to.
Yeah,
I can't remember off the top of my head what
So
the
like same frequency or something.
Yeah, at least 3 of them they've confirmed that they share the same frequency. And just the thing about the sound, did you see the shape of the caves are in such a way, like obviously aesthetically they look really cool and like space age, but they're really functional because they push all the sound into the center point of the dome, and it's about 80 centimeters off the floor, which is roughly the size of a human head for an adult human. If you're sitting down, it's about 80 centimeters depending on your height, but that's where all of the sound is like projected into, and that's where they exploded 2 Bose speakers when they were doing all their. They played every type of music. They exploded 2 of them. It was a very expensive experiment for those guys. But when they hit 75 hertz on playing music, the speakers just kaput, and they were like, wow. Okay. So yeah,
crazy.
I guess we're done with this experiment.
Yeah. Before we get into the next one, I have to do my ad read.
Yes.
I still have one more question, but
these are always an adventure, by the way.
Barabar.
Good journey.
Well, we'll get right back to Barabar, but we need to
we'll pause Barabar. Let's do an ad. We'll pause Barabar.
Taxes.
Pause it.
We need to talk about taxes. You know, as I mentioned in my video, my dad was an accountant, right? My dad did Dr. Seuss's taxes. Now, you wouldn't want me doing your taxes for sure. Like, I would send you to federal prison pretty quick. So you need to get other people to do your taxes. Do you owe back taxes? You don't ever want to. By the way, I want to start this out. Taxation is theft. Just let's get that one out of the way. But do you owe back taxes? Pandemic relief is now over. Along with hiring thousands of new agents and field officers, the IRS, disband the IRS, has kicked off 2024 by sending over 5 million pay-up letters to those who have unfilled tax returns or balances owed. Don't waive your rights and speak with them on your own. No, do not. They are not your friends. Tax Network USA, a trusted tax relief firm, has saved over $1 billion in back taxes for their claims or for their clients, and they can help you secure the best deal possible. Whether you owe 10,000 or 10 million, how many in the chat owe 10 million? Put your hands up.
How much did Wesley Snipes owe?
I think
I miss Wesley Snipes.
I don't think it was 10 million. I think it was like a couple. Okay. I knew his lawyer too. Long story. Yeah, he shopped at my comic store. They can help you, whether it's business or personal taxes, even if you have the means to pay or you are on a fixed income, you can help finally resolve your tax burdens once and for all. Not going to be asked to voice over Barabar documentaries. Trust me, with the way I read stuff. Call 1-800-958-1000 for a private free consultation or visit tnusa.com/nerdrotic. Thank you. Thank you.
Link in the description.
Click in the description.
Wesley Snipes owed 23.5 million.
I was off by about 20 million.
A lot.
Damn.
A lot, bro.
Hey, not all heroes wear capes. Sometimes they play Blade.
Yeah. Sometimes they wear long leather coats.
Yep. And say, people, I skate uphill.
Sometimes they have tiny arms.
Yep, yeah.
Why are you going to talk about Henry Cavill like that?
Why do you just catch his
How do you know it's Henry Cavill? What do you mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point, Adam.
I got your back, Garrett.
Thank you.
Okay.
Too much.
Back to Barabar.
Back to Barabar.
So you don't think it's the story, right? that it was Ashoka and given it to, they inherited it, obviously. They found it and gave it to them.
Yeah.
What do you think? Now, we don't know who built them, right? That's just a complete mystery.
I know who
but
built them.
Because you lived back at the
Yeah, I
era
was
when they
there.
were probably
Okay,
built.
so I was there. This was when I was a
Sure.
You
young
built
lad.
them, didn't you?
I was like 10 at the time. Okay, I was going to
Okay.
grade school. Ashoka had a pretty good. He was good with education. Okay, really good at
Sure.
math. Everybody was amazing at
Yeah.
math back then.
Polymaths everywhere.
Yeah.
What do you think these are used for? Were they for healing? What do you think they were, Johanna?
I think, well, because it seems they're seeming to be aiming sound frequencies at that specific height level. I can see a world where, well, and also because they're the new information when they're scanning with the really intense 3D scans, they're also seeing that they correlate to each other geographically. So like one of
Right.
the Vadatika, as you can, it's got like a perfectly parallel cave walls, and then the entranceway is like on the wonk. It's like it's not straight, and that's not an accident. It's because it actually aligns with a cave that's on the other side of the sort of whaleback granite mountain, and they align to each other, and where they meet, and again, you would never ever know this by the human eye. They can only discover it from the 3D scans. So it's
Right.
only with our technology. So we're like, how did they even work this out and align that over the mountaintop? But they're aligned to each other. So in my head, I had an idea that what if say you had 5 caves and 5 people sitting in the caves, and you all kind of lock in to some sort of frequency, and it's a bit like what we're doing exactly right now. We're in different parts of the earth, but we're all at the same time be able to channel each other and communicate. And I just wondered, I was like, oh, is this like an ancient
Podcast?
connected podcast? Exactly.
Internet. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's
So that was where my brain went with that, and I was like, I don't know where
I
that's
like
come from, but I like the
Like
idea
it opens
that
your third eye, and suddenly
Yeah.
you're all sitting around in like a cosmic hall.
like a 0 point in
Valhalla.
time.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a cool theory.
And yeah, you get to like a 0 point, but you can only get there through with the right frequency, the sound frequency. Or second to that, probably it would be healing. Because again, we're like just getting into the technology of curing cancers, like zapping cancer cells with certain everything's frequency, right? there was a
just
Tesla
getting into it.
machine that but you can kind of do anything. It's a frequency machine that you can, if you want to use it for good, you could
The Rife machine, Rife technology. I think that. Was it
yeah, and it was part of the kit that got removed by the government
Right.
at the time, but because it's a dangerous machine, because if it in the right hands you could use it to heal cancers and do like amazing stuff, and in the wrong hands it can be a weapon. So that's like the power of frequency. So yeah, I imagine that you could do something. Yeah,
put that
in
back up, Garrett.
Yep.
maybe they were hospitals.
Maybe. So we mentioned this while we were going over the doc. The shapes, the geometric, the shapes look a lot like the geometric shapes that we see that we're finding in the jungles now with LiDAR, the henges. I was noticing that, especially the circle going to the rectangle, the one on Sudama right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that shape all over, even where our mounds were here before we destroyed most of them. A lot of the layouts still show shapes like that. I don't know if you guys ever noticed that, but I like to find patterns, and that is definitely a pattern that we get from especially prehistory is stuff like this. And some of it is almost exact. It doesn't have the curvature, right? It doesn't have the curvature like Sudama, but and it's in multiple countries. And I thought that was weird. That was definitely one of the things that I was like, I've seen that before. I don't know where I've seen that before. And
Yeah,
we
it
just started
does.
looking at pictures.
It's like stone circles with a stone processional at like a passageway. It's like the two sides. Yeah, it's exactly that shape. And Sudama is the really impressive one because it's it looks like a mushroom when you're in the main hall. And there's a technique that they used so that they shaped the outside of the hall perfectly aligns with the inside outside of the like spherical chamber, and there's no need to do that. It's so complicated to get that exactly. It's almost like they're 3D printed. It's insane the level of, and again, this is big guys. What light source did they use?
Mhm.
How did they irrigate the place so that you didn't choke on all of the dust? It's a real mystery how they did that. But I think that's one the most impressive little bit of Barabar is that maybe they were just flexing and showing off that they could do that, but there was sort of no need to imitate that for
What do
like
you think of
aesthetic reasons.
Marcel Fodi is, I think he's in Hungary. He is a Twitter X user that he's been doing these experiments with geopolymers, and he actually just created granite, and he's been working on making marble out of wood ash and water glass. I don't remember exactly what he's using, but he's replicating these stones. And I actually just got one of his little Easter Island heads that he sells every so often. But he talked at length when that documentary was, everyone was doing their rounds. Everyone was talking about the Barabar caves. Pretty much after we did, it just seemed to kind of be like the hot ticket item in this world that we're in. And he did this whole thing about how he thinks that they were molded, that they were poured, and that whale. I know it's a lot of stone, but
The whole whale back.
the whole thing, like he made this argument that that's what he believes it was. So like all of those crazy, like that whole vein, he thinks that it was just molded, and then the caves were.
How?
Look, I don't. He made an argument for it.
I would say no to that because there are 7 caves, 2 unfinished, 5 finished, and you can see in the unfinished ones
the process.
You can see bits of the and you can also see where I think there is an attempt to finish them, and then that was abandoned because they couldn't finish them. So that you can see in my eyes, you can see the 2 stages. But if it was like perfectly molded geopolymer, like you wouldn't have that unfinished too.
Well, those unfinished caves felt like they were someone trying to replicate what they found. It almost like it wasn't the original. Because they weren't, that the floor wasn't as nice. It seemed like they were trying to do what they found.
Some of the chiseling was like in negative into the actual granite.
Yeah,
like
basically the polishing is the very last thing you would ever do. So you would never polish a surface or a side of a surface until the entire shape is chiseled out, and then you'd start the polishing. And the problem with the unfinished ones is that they have polished walls, but the ceiling and you can see where they've tried to either change the shape or like just continue building them. And you can see that they've accidentally it's impossible not to ruin the perfect polish of the wall. So it's you can see chisel marks and also the polish. One thing that they don't say in the documentary, but the team told me, is in the first documentary in BAM, they struggled to actually photograph and film the caves because they said to the human eye, when you go in, when you look up close, the granite is polished so finely that it's like see-through, it's iridescent, and when you put a camera lens on it, it kept looking rougher than it was to the human eye because it was seeing through the top layer of like perfect polish, and it was seeing and so they had to buy a whole new kit of lights. And if you see, the Barabar is so much better lit because they were really struggling on how to get it in the camera because it was just it went translucent, and they were like, this is really difficult to film. But it is the closest thing to modern day glass, some of the polish.
So even this picture right here, you can see it almost looks like it's pocked, like right where the light is hitting, right? You see all those it looks like holes. So that's actually like buttery smooth.
Yeah, but
it's
behind...
like under a layer of translucent stone because it's that interesting. Cool.
So
That makes me look at it differently.
So you can see kind of, this kind of shows a little bit. So there's like a kind of layer of polish, and then behind it's the granite.
That's crazy.
Very
It does
cool.
look like metal.
And it's old, and it's really precise, and it's in the middle of nowhere.
And the only thing that is similar to it is that, so it just pops up and then never again. There's nothing like it. There's no evolution up to it, and there's no continuation of it, because they obviously couldn't replicate whoever made this. The only thing that is similar is around the same time there were these pillars that popped up, like perfect granite polished pillars, and a lot of them were then inscripted on. And some of them do mention names like Ashoka, but I think that's also the same situation where they've been using
vandalized.
Amazing. Well, the inscriptions are quite nice on these pillars, but some of them are still completely plain. So yeah, I think but they just pop up, these random
They were tagged.
pillars.
They were tagged.
They were tagged
by an emperor. Yeah.
Said, I did this.
I did this.
I did this
for the pores.
For the people.
For the people.
What a random, very random.
Yeah, and I won't say, because I'll wait till his video comes out. I know what Luke is in Peru for, because we chatted with him about it. I can't wait for you guys to find out, because it's crazy and it's out there. And the more we have these independent, these citizen archaeologists, these independent folks running out there and going in the middle of nowhere, we're finding so much more out, and that's what's great. It's the the gatekeeping universities that always are fighting for funding and don't put anything on YouTube, and when they do, it's not very interesting. Rare exceptions, but it's not very interesting. We have people out there running tours, and it's nothing but good. And we're finding out more. Of course, these caves were probably known about forever by the people who live there. And I didn't, until I saw that doc. And I'm into this stuff, Johanna. I've been into this stuff for a couple of decades. I knew nothing about these things. And I was like,
yeah, neither did I, until I saw BAM, and I was like, oh wow, India. Okay.
Yeah. India's a little crazy, but yeah. Maybe someday we'll go there. Pretty far.
That ancient wall too that they found, like in the middle of India
that was Megalithomania went there, and they found an old megalithic wall that's like, it's kind of not very good at first, but then when you get to the older part, it starts getting really good and precise, and it's just in the middle of nowhere. Like, nobody talks about it.
Out in the middle of the boonies.
I think the next hot sites are going to come out of Russia.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of potentially very old walls and bits of things that are so it's such a brain head scratcher when you're watching the footage, and I'm like, okay, I think I need to go to Russia because again, when you see these things when you see these sites in person, it just takes on a whole different thing.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's like a fortress or a henge, but they found something really old in Siberia. That's just
and people, there's a lot of Neanderthal and Denisovan stuff coming out of Siberia, and Denisovans had drill tools. So I think it makes sense.
They found the drill tools.
No, they found the drill marks. So there's a famous
the emerald bracelet.
Yeah, and it's a Denisovan and Neanderthal mixed race girl, and they found her body, and she had a lot of beads and like tiny little beads, and she had like a jade bracelet that had a drill hole through it to, like, I think put a chain or sort of something on there.
You can it's pretty easy to look up, Adam. We've talked about it before. They've also they had these needles made out of bone that are just really sharp. They found a lot of really interesting artifacts that these people were
Siberia and Russia.
Yeah.
I saw a video of these Russian guys that were breaking apart this rock, and inside the rock they had a metal detector, and they were like metal detecting, and they, like, in a field of rocks, they found this one rock and broke it open and found coins inside of a rock. I was like, this doesn't feel real.
Not real. Well, I do know. I mean, this
I
isn't
went back and it was a
archaeological.
rock. Like
There's a really good
looked like a rock.
documentary from 2012 of the black market ivory that's being sold to China, and I can't remember what a reporter went out there and followed him, and it's really dangerous. And it's just guys melting the mud of the permafrost, and then they pull out. They're just pulling out, old bison heads and mammoth tusks, and they sell them to China. It's like a 10-year-old documentary. It's nuts.
Wasn't there a breakout of some deadly disease from the permafrost melting? This was like
Oh, no,
I wouldn't
I
be
feel like I
surprised.
remember that. Yeah.
They woke up bacteria. They woke up ancient
Yeah.
bacteria that had been frozen for like 40,000
nope,
years.
not
And
a
we're
good
like,
idea.
I'm gonna let them
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, that's
Not-
with
I'm
the
gonna let
ice
them
core
do it.
samples. When they get the ice core samples from Greenland, it's like, don't melt those, please. Just don't.
Just keep
I've seen Jurassic Park. Okay,
Yeah.
Let's not mess with,
Have you seen the thing? It's like
The
no.
thing, right?
Yeah,
We're gonna make a clone of it. Whatever it
Yeah.
is, we're gonna make new ones. No.
So
Let's not do that.
let's talk about Easter Island, a very
Yes.
remote island, a weird island. It's been like the Moai have been like a symbol of just the ancient
The
civilization research from when I was a kid. Like
Mhm.
one of the first books I got had a Moai on it, and it's always been just really weird. And it got
Yeah.
an island that
It-
got pretty much wiped out by. I'm sorry, it's a sound delay. An island
no,
that got
go for it, go for
wiped out by slavers going there, but practically wiping out the island, and wiping out all the information. But apparently, and you will know because you've been there, I haven't. So we have a possible written language. I most of the stuff I've watched, Johanna, is Robert Schoch stuff, right? I've just
Okay.
read a bunch of his books, and the Moai like buried in sediment. And I know what Robert thinks. I want to hear what you think. He thinks that sediment has built up over time, and they've just been sitting there. But yeah, like tell us about your trip.
So one of the first things that I found quite shocking about the heads, because you're right, they are so iconic for like ancient stuff. And I've been out seeing like Stonehenge and Egypt and stuff that is legit 4,000 or 5,000 years old. And I didn't realize how like new the carbon dating of the Moai are. Obviously they can't carbon date the statues because they're rock, but they
Yep.
carbon dated like around them or where they've been placed. And they're only supposedly dated to 1200 AD to 1600. So that means they're only 400 to 800 years old, which it is old, but it's not like we're used to looking at stuff that's 5,000 plus. And so I was like, oh, they're babies in terms of ancient things. And yeah, and that I struggled with the sediment and how eroded they are for only being 400 to 800 years old. Just seeing them with my eyes, I couldn't believe that rock could erode that fast. And I know it's different rock to the stuff in Egypt. It's volcanic. Well, there's 4 kinds of rock that they're made from different ones, but you've got volcanic tuff, which is very easy to carve, very soft. But then you've got dolerite ones, which is very
Insane.
hard. And I'm like,
Yeah, wow.
why are they eroding? And then there's 2 other types of rock that I can't remember. But yeah, so everybody can recognize the Moai heads, but not everybody knows that they are not heads, they're full bodies. And some of them are 28 foot tall. They're big.
Yeah, like growing up, I just knew about the heads. It wasn't until we started doing this show that I was like looking into some of this stuff and finding out like, oh, they're full body sculptures.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And the
it's
backs
amazing.
are like intricately carved.
Yeah.
So
What do
funny
you mean
story.
by that? Intricately carved.
So the carvings on the back of the Moai look
I didn't know that.
very much like carvings on like not Easter Island, on Göbekli Tepe, and kind of you've got birds and suns and there's yeah,
The
they're like
position of the
beautiful.
hands are very similar to the T-pillars.
The positions of the hands
yeah.
at the side on the crotch with the long elongated fingers, like stylistically identical, which again is it's I kept going over that question as well, going, who designed this concept? Like who thought, right, guys, I've got an idea. Here it is. Let me do a sketch. And it having so many similarities with something that is so far away, 10,000 years previously on the other side of the world. I was really upset when I got to the island. I was so ready with my camera to go around the back and get loads of really good footage of all of the inscriptions, the imagery. It's all gone. It's all washed off. Like they are so eroded.
Wow.
There's nothing on the backs of them. There's one that I see on the internet a lot that's compared to Göbekli Tepe. And I kept asking, like, where's that one? Where's the one with the stuff? And they were like, oh, that one's in the British Museum. I was like, what? I just came from London. I flew 20 hours. And it's literally an hour from my house. Are you kidding me? So yeah, that one is the dolerite one with the intricate back is in the British Museum. And it has a special name. It has a very long indigenous name, but it's translated into the hidden one or the secret one. And it was kept on a very special place on the island up. This exactly here, up where the crater is, the volcanic crater. The Rapanui people had a very special, like sacred ceremonial village type thing that they only went up to one time a year. And they had their Birdman ceremony festival, and kind of like a triathlon event. First man that could scale the cliff, jump into the water, swim to the next island, and capture the seabird egg, like one, which I think is
Cool.
it's like the Tri-Wizard tournament.
I was gonna say
it's great,
exactly like that. Yeah,
I'd be there, popcorn, great. But this particular dolerite one with the really cool back, that used to be up there, and it was called the hidden one or the secret one. And I immediately just thought, the hidden one, what, like you found it in the ground, like, or like you... Anyway. And so so this imagery here, that's not that's just a modern day replica. There's loads of them over the island, like outside shops and hotels and things. So
a replica of the one that's in the British Museum?
Yes, a replica of the one that's in the British Museum. And the one that's in the British Museum is a lot more eroded. You can't see the imagery.
That's like shockingly similar. These
very
this
similar.
This is Göbekli Tepe and this is Easter Island.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
Bird people, a spherical item that they're kind of around. Like, do you think that's why they are covered? Is because they erode so quickly and they're trying to preserve the stuff that's put in?
I asked them, the tour guides. I said, were they deliberately covered, or is this? And they said no. They did say that they would cut them out of the. So there's a mountain which I nicknamed Moai Mountain, and which is the quarry of where they were cutting and. But it's also where all the heads are like classically sticking out of, because they're still in the factory. They never left. There's so many of them. And the guy did say that there's even more completely under the ground that they're aware of, but will never dig up. But they did say that the ones where the heads are sticking up is because they were mounted in the ground in a couple of feet of earth. They would sort of drop them in a little pit so that they could carve the backs. So that accounts for maybe 3 or 4 foot of earth. But then some of them are like 20 feet tall. There's still a lot of earth that was supposedly. So I need to go and do some research in like sediment rising. Like, what is the quickest?
Yeah.
What's the average amount of time? Someone told me it was about an inch every 100 years, and I was like, well, that's not enough, because we're conservative looking at 400
800 years old.
Yeah.
Even at the oldest, that's not nearly enough.
But so when they did they've dug a few of them out and excavated, and that's where they got the carbon date for around 1200 AD, because the organic matter around the bottom of the stone. So I think you could, it's safe to say that somebody slid the positioned it there at 1200 AD. But it's a weird case of just that weird unfinished production stopping. There's still Moai in the mountain. They would carve everything, the face as it was lying down, kind of vertically in the rock, and then they would cut around it and then erect it and then walk it off. But there's hundreds still in the mountain, and then there are the famous ones that they've arranged on the Ahus, which they're like a plateau, which they buried their leaders in or under, kind of like a mastaba type thing. And then they would put the Ahu on top, and they were supposed to represent specific leaders. And to be fair, they are different. Each one is slightly different. Like they've got different faces, and some are big, some are small, some have got bigger man boobs. It's like it does look a bit portrait, like in ancient
like
Egypt.
They're trying to recreate their leader.
Yeah, it seems a bit more individual, but like in ancient Egypt, it's kind of the same pharaoh face, robotically, and it get like a mass production. The Moai, some of them have different noses, like there's long ones, there's skinny Moai. There's 1,000 Moai that have been found, but only like 117 they're not hats. They are hair, like different rock. That those red things are supposed to be top knots of hair.
These are real pictures, by the way.
That last one wasn't. This one is.
No.
Yeah, so I wondered whether the top knot of hair was a later addition, because there doesn't seem to be as much top knots as there are statues. But that's just me.
Yeah, and they had eyes too, right? They had little eyes in them, and
they had like coral eyes. Not all of them had coral eyes, but some of them did. But there's only one surviving coral eye that's in the museum. And I was like, can you carbon date the coral eye, please, someone? But I don't think they're going to touch it.
Oh, hell no. Probably not. There's also a megalithic wall there, is there not?
The best thing on the island is the megalithic wall.
Tell us about it.
Go find it.
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
It is. So there is a very convincing argument that the Rapanui did arrive 600 AD and that they did settle, and then they did start carving Moai out in the timeline that it happened. Like I can see a very good argument for that with the carbon dating and with the oral history. But this wall, it's called Vinapu, and it's the ahas that the Moai stood on. Every aha on the island is made of like kind of, it looks like very like Neolithic builders. They're sort of like arranged rock that's sort of been arranged. Vinapu is cut, and it is big, and it's megalithic, and it's that polygonal, like it looks identical to the stuff that's in Peru, and it looks very Inca, and this thing. And you see that little hole in the middle of the center block
down at the bottom.
It's like
they say if you go up there, the
dead center, I see it. Okay.
Yeah, dead center, your compass will start like spinning around, because
really
the magnetic energies around that hole apparently is like crazy.
It's like the H blocks.
Well, yeah, we Thor, correct me if I'm wrong, chat or Johanna. Thor Heyerdahl's son flew a helicopter around there, and they said, well, be careful. And it was the people of the island, like, just be careful because your instruments get screwed up here. And he almost crashed.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. The island, so we noticed every time you go up to the statues, the Moai statues or the megalithic wall, your phone battery dies in minutes.
Really?
Or your camera there was a guy who had, like a full battery digital camera. And within 15 minutes of photographing up close the famous 15, he was like, my battery's died. And we were all like desperately trying to find charging because, there's something in the on the island, but also in the stone specifically that is, it drains batteries and it plays with magnetic.
And now, is this the only megalithic wall there?
The only one. It's just that one and done.
That's very strange.
It's nothing like anything else on the island, and
Did they and so
there were some bodies that were inside it. So we're facing it as this is facing the sea. If you were stood in front of it looking at this wall, it's facing the sea with Moai on the top. But if you walk around the back, sorry, you're facing, yes, it's facing the sea, you're facing inward. If you walk around the back to look out, the back of it is not megalithic, it's made with smaller stones, and there are bodies in there which carbon dated to 1200 AD. So the
1200
bodies,
AD.
so the bodies were put there at 1200 AD. So therefore they put the dating of this at 1200 AD. And
Okay,
I
when
asked
it's clear there's something like a different civilization that built onto it.
I mean, just a different knowledge, and this was my question. I was like, if you had the skill set to build like this, because this is also one of the only Ahus that's left standing on the island, because the other Ahus have fallen down. They've been repaired since, and sort of reconstructed, but they all of the like Neolithic stacked rocks have fallen down because they've just got there's nothing to glue them together. They don't fit together. But this is the only standing one. And I was like, if you could build it like this, then why are they all not like this? Or why are the houses not like this? Or any of the other more the religious structures? They have these kind of religious hut things that are made again of like stacked stone. And the houses that we went to there, they've recreated a village of where the Rapanui people lived. And every home has like a stone base that looks like a boat. And then they build with like wood and like a kind of thatched roof that you have to repair every week. And I was just thinking, I would want to live in that. Like, that's not going to need rubber. But I was like, if you had the skill to chop and change and cut stone and move that. But I asked the guy, I was like, how did they do this then? And he was like, we don't know. So,
no idea.
No,
they said that and not tried to make up some.
Yeah.
Reason. We don't have they didn't have any metal, so everything on the island's cut with stone. The Moai are carved with dolerite like blades. And I was like, so how did you carve this? So how did you cut this one with dolerite blades? Because that's pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty precise for stone.
So that's the one like really weird thing for me there. There's also the navel of the world. They have the navel of the world there, that stone. And we've heard that in other places too. Did you go see that?
The navel of the
big like, round rock. Yeah.
The rig. Yes. Yes. We saw that, and it has a big round, like the stuff in Costa Rica, and those big, perfectly spherical, which are also all over Russia. So Russia's coming.
Yes. Yes.
But it's a big round ball of rock, and then it has north, south, east, west, perfectly aligned. And again, this is one where, again, all of your compasses go woo. And that's not native to the island. Apparently, that was brought by the first settler. Like, they went across the ocean 4,000 kilometers with this massive circular, and they brought it with them, obviously, for a reason. That's a lot of effort. And I was like, maybe it was had something to do with their navigation, or it was something to do with locating ancient sites or ley lines. I don't know, but it was obviously very important to them.
In a time where they said people couldn't get there, but obviously they did. They
did. And also there's a new paper that's come out. My friend History with Kaylee just sent me a study that they did. They gave permission, the Rapanui people gave permission to DNA test 15 ancient dead bodies that are in a French museum that were taken a couple hundred years ago. And they found that there is a 10% DNA mix with Native Americans of ancient Rapanui. So they were 100% mixing with Native Americans. And so, there's, and that mix happened around 1200 AD. Because that's when apparently the Moai and the Ahus were being made. So, that's like it's a new piece of the puzzle that's coming in with this DNA testing.
What was the other 90%?
Polynesian.
Okay.
And
a pretty big distance.
Because they said
a lot of ocean.
It's a lot of ocean. But one exciting thing is that they said, so the Rapanui people, their culture is at the moment entirely oral history, because they have a language, but nobody can translate it because everyone's forgotten it. but they do have the Ronga Ronga language. And it's on various, they've got a couple of wood tablets with it on, but again, nobody can translate it. And they carbon dated the wood, and the wood turns out it's 200 years before the Europeans arrived, because some people argued that they only developed language after the Europeans came and like gave them language. But this proves that they had their own language that was obviously being passed down from way before, independent. So they only have oral stories, and their origin story, as it were, of how they came there. He said that there are 7 tribes, 7 like representatives traveled to Rapanui, and they knew it was there. They didn't find it or discover it. They traveled there with knowledge that it was there, and they went with the intention to settle and like restart. And I was like, 7? Are you sure 7, not 12? Because the 7 wise ones, the 7 sages restarting after Atlantis.
Yes.
And I was like, there were 7 across the 7. So, but that's their
Mhm.
origin story, that there were 7. And initially there were 7 separate tribes on Rapanui. It's a tiny island as well. It's 14 miles long.
Oh,
Wow.
You could jog around it in a day, easy.
and yeah, it is really in the middle of nowhere. Like,
It's out there, man.
it's 3,000 miles away from Peru, right? Is it 3,000 or more?
It's 3,700 kilometers.
Kilometers.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's
wow.
I'm not sure
what's a
what that is.
kilometer? I'm American. I don't know what that is.
I'm miles as well, but that's what
Yeah.
100
That's what-
kilometers is around 60 miles, so it'll be, if it's 3,700, it'd probably like 2,000 something.
There we go.
it is all you can see there. It's quite, I felt like I was in Waterworld, because all you can see is ocean, and you can
3
kind of
million
see the
meters.
coast wherever you are on the island. You can see the sea, and it just goes on, and it's slightly freaky because you're
Yeah.
like, okay.
You think the world's flat now?
No, definitely not.
Just kidding.
No. Mhm.
But I did think, I was like, what if I like fell off the cliff and broke my neck, and I am a 6-hour flight from like the nearest anywhere.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah. My son really wants to go there, and I'm like,
Come on, we're
That's-
going to Peru. It's
there
not
is no
that
first class
far.
flights to Easter Island. I don't know, son. We'll see.
Actually, there
Is he going-
are.
is he going
There
to
are?
Peru?
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the flight from Santiago, Chile, it's 1 a day. So if you miss it, you're stuck. And it has. I was expecting like a tiny little plane to be like rattling across the. No, it's a big plane, because there's only 1 a day. They take a couple hundred people, and there's a first class that I was not
There
in.
you go.
All right.
But
There
I
you go, Gary.
Hey, it's on the
He's in
list
luck.
now.
Listen, I'm not bougie. I hate flying, so I'll be bougie for first class. That makes it a little bit better.
I mean, yeah, but and a warning though about the flight over, because it didn't happen to us, but when we were going to leave, there were so many people at this tiny little airport. The airport's like 2 foot long, and I was like, why are there so many people here? And they went, oh, because yesterday nobody could leave because the plane couldn't land from Chile, so it flew 5 hours out, circled the island, couldn't land because the weather was so rainy. A rain cloud just, I think we're quite at a high altitude there, because when it rains, the island just gets covered in fog, and they couldn't land the plane.
like
And
Skull
so
Island.
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah, basically. And they had to fly 5 hours out, circle, and fly back, so nobody could get in and
oof.
nobody could leave. So keep that in mind if you are traveling to Rapanui. Just keep like flexible a day either side in case you get stuck or you can't enter or exit, which is something I hadn't thought about. And I was like, praying I got there and got off the island.
Yeah, could you
Wow.
imagine getting stuck on that island? Oh,
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a bad place to get stuck. It's Polynesian. It's very. I haven't been to Hawaii,
That's true.
but it was very much like the people there are so lovely, and the hotels were lovely, and unlike a lot of other ancient sites in the world, where it's quite. I always find it emotionally quite taxing, because there's a lot of poverty that you have to. You feel really helpless because you want to sort of help everyone when you get there. But Rapanui is this amazing hybrid of like super respecting and keeping all of their ancient culture alive. Everyone's covered in like indigenous tattoos. Yeah, everyone's got like iPhones, and that they have a very good economic wealth spread. Like everyone's sort of on the same level. Whereas you go to places like Egypt and you're either poverty or prince, and it's like a big disparity between the two. But yeah, Rapa Nui is like a proper tight knit community.
Cool. How long were you
I
there
would
for?
imagine it's super small.
Yeah, there's only like 8,000 people, and they all live as well. Just so you know, Rapa Nui is empty apart from the one town in the bottom corner.
Orongo?
Everyone lives in the one space. In
Oh, here. Okay.
yeah, Hangaroa.
Kangaroo.
90% of the people, they all live there, as you can see. And then
Yeah.
when you go, and then it's dead air space. Like you lose all your signal the minute you leave the town. I think that's where they've got Starlink for the town, but it doesn't work anywhere else on the island.
That
That's
looks
so
really
cool.
remote. Lots
Is
of
that the volcano crater right there in the middle?
well, there's
I think
no, it's
this
No.
is the
one
main.
on the that's the big one.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
that's
There's tons of
way
little
more.
There's little ones.
extra.
Oh,
Well,
cool.
if you look at all the islands, not all, but most in the Pacific, especially towards the south, they're all volcanic, old volcanic islands, especially the ones even south of Mexico and down. Because I've spent a lot of time on Google Maps looking at them. Because I'm weird.
Do you-
But
Do you think that this could be just like the peak of Mu? Wasn't the lost continent of Mu? I think that's what MU, right? Where it was
lost-
in
yeah,
the middle of the
continent of
Pacific,
Mu.
right? Yeah.
So
You
you
think
know,
this could be it? Like ancient parts of Mu?
this felt very much like the last tidbit top of something
Yeah.
much bigger, because when you in like a Caribbean island or other islands I've been to, the gradient of the sea going out into the ocean, you can go for miles in quite shallow water.
yes,
and go out.
especially
This
Aruba.
is a deep dive off the bat. So there's one tiny little beach on the island. There's only one part that has sand. Everywhere else around the island, it's like a rock
Just-
drop into
Wow.
immediately deep water. So there's no beach. There's one tiny beach, which is, you can walk it in about 2 minutes. Everywhere else is and it's deep water, and it's very wavy. And it does make me think like 10,000 in the Ice Age, this would have been 120 meters lower, the sea level. So it would have been so much bigger. And I do
Yeah.
wonder whether that Vinapu, that megalithic wall, in my mind, I was like, what if that's the top of maybe like a descent of, and that was the top like observatory, and then there was
Yeah.
like what's in the water? That was
That's
like, I wish we
that's
could
what I want to
scan
know
it.
about all over the place, down outside the Azores, is Randall Carlson right about
Yeah.
Atlantis being down there somewhere, or west of Africa, in the water, like what was washed out there?
Yeah, what's in
I
the
don't know.
water? But it
A lot of
does.
cool places.
It feels very much this tiny little, like the last, yeah, the very, very last pin on the top of something much bigger. And the fact that in their oral history, those seven tribes knew of it. They knew where they were going. It wasn't like, oh, they accidentally discovered it, or thanks to the gods that led them there. It was like no, they charted that. They knew where that was.
Yeah. Well, it's a big thing in their culture where they can look at the stars, and it's like looking at Google Maps for us. They could look at the stars and be like, "Oh yeah, we sailed that way for 3 days and we'll get to that island." My wife lived in a boat in the South Pacific for like 8 months when she was younger, and she
Wow.
met a lot of the indigenous people and talked to them, and realized that that's really they knew it. They passed on this knowledge of being able to understand exactly, like to a T, exactly where they were just on the stars. So it doesn't surprise me that these people, that they really passed on their knowledge to the future generations, knew exactly how to get to this place and knew about it. They probably frequented it. It seems like a crazy adventure for us to like think about how How do they get
Well,
to that
think
one
about the
spot?
sky, and I'm sure the sky looked
they-
amazing there because the lack of
Oh, I'm
light
sure.
pollution. But
Oh,
look,
dude,
the,
yeah,
the
you get
sky the
perfect skies.
ancients saw, I mean, every night, everywhere. Of course, they would memorize it because that's for one, that's your only entertainment at night. But like,
Yep.
it would be endless entertainment. Like, and I see it so rarely. And I don't know what it's like for you in Sweden, but
I saw the Milky Way last night.
see,
For-
I haven't
so
seen the
nice
Milky
to
Way
see
in a
the
long
ancient ones
time.
all.
Incredible, dude.
Yeah, we're really
I was
locking
actually
ourselves
shocked.
off from it because, like you said, being able to see the stars, know where they are, know what time of the year it is, all from that, and that's what we had every single day, or every single night for thousands of years, and we're locking ourselves away from it.
Yep, and they probably figured, like again, I believe, Johanna, that there was an ancient civilization and that there was, be it watchers, seven sages, there were people who went out and tried to preserve what knowledge there was, and it just degraded over time. And a lot of they were able to navigate seas. Thor Heyerdahl proved that he went out and built that reed boat or whatever, and proved that you could sail long distances in it. But they had some sort of prior knowledge that was passed down over generations. That's what I believe, just based on what I've seen so far. And I don't think that's crazy to believe that at all. Even.
I think it's slightly insulting if we don't believe that ancient humans were capable of doing things intelligently and being they were like way more connected with the earth and the stars and magnetic forces, and like they knew exactly what that big magnetic sphere ball was, so much so that they were like, we're taking that 4,000 kilometers over there for a reason. And yeah, it's almost like, yeah, I feel a little bit like let's not laugh at them. They were the OGs at this. And 100%, it's a suicide mission to go that far into the ocean if you do not know where you're going, because you can eat fish fine, but you need water. And if you're going to go that many days into the middle of nowhere, you need to be really sure.
In the Pacific, where it can get a little crazy with storms, a lot.
Oh, the waves there, like I said, it's like it's deep water and it's active water. I was like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't do it. No,
I wouldn't even go swimming in that stuff. Hell no. Reed
boats.
boats.
Reed boats. That's what he did.
Reed boats.
That's so crazy. There's
a documentary I just watched this week, and it's called The Atlantis Puzzle. It's just out this year, and I found it really interesting. And in the documentary, they spoke about how in ancient West Africa, they found these boats that have been accidentally preserved in clay, and they are at least from like 9,000 BC. And it proves that ancient West Africans had boats, which is all to do with like the Atlantis puzzle, and it's really like the gap between Plato's Atlantis, and what we would like attribute humans being able to do was so big, and it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, because we're now like, okay, now we know for a fact that they were able to boat. This was a time when West Africa was pretty much rich, the big river that ran from the Nile all the way across the top of Africa.
Yeah.
In the green wet season of Africa. And yeah, of course they had boats. Of course everyone knew how to navigate water. It's one of the most basic things humans worked out how to do. How do we not die in water? Here we go. Yeah, so for sure.
So what got you started down this rabbit hole?
The pandemic.
Really?
Yeah, I was always into history, but it was in the pandemic that I actually had the time to sit and just go down YouTube rabbit holes. And what did I see? The first video I saw was Jimmy from Bright Insight, and I also saw Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock on Rogan. And I was like, sorry, what? And I just started tumbling down the rabbit hole and researching it. And I'm by my day job, before YouTube, I was an actor, and I also do screenwriting. And I had this idea for like a younger Dryas kind of disaster movie, but factually, scientifically as accurate as possible, like Titanic for the younger Dryas. And I sort of saw the first 5 minutes of this movie, and I started to write it. Got about 20 pages in, and I was like, I'm gonna have to go to Egypt to like research this properly. So I joined Ben's tour from Uncharted X, which Jimmy from Bright Insight happened to uh, be on, and then I just opened. That's it. I fully opened the door and started making YouTube videos, and sort of here we are 4 years later.
Here we
still on
are.
it.
Yeah. I think it's a
Here
lot
we
of people's
are.
story. At least they didn't make the jump to make YouTube, but like the pandemic was a great time for people to get invested into new things that they were never invested in before.
Yeah, I don't know.
That.
I'm not sure if even Randall or Graham understand like what a gateway drug that their interview was with Joe Rogan. I mean, it's gotten millions of views. It still gets millions of views. And I mean, it's led to a special, hopefully Ancient Apocalypse season 2. God, I hope it comes out soon. But yeah, we go over all kinds of stuff here, Johanna. We go over UFOs and everything, but like this is the most exciting field. I've said it before because we're getting like real research and real data and real evidence. You know, you were showing the Moai, right? And how it's connected to Göbekli Tepe with the arms. Well, in I can never pronounce this damn country's name. Sulawesi. There is here. I can share a picture. What's one that looks a little this one looks good. Whatever. I'm just going to share the whole page. Garrett. From Indonesia, as Graham says. I say Indonesia because I'm American. There's these guys. And they all have their arms around the side. And yeah, this is in Indonesia. So, and they also have that weird that nose that kind of looks like Urfa Man from Göbekli Tepe.
Yeah,
that
strong brow.
Yep. And we also see that face in Australia. We also see that face here in America. And the other common thing we see with and this isn't the only one. There's other examples of the arms straight around, and they're usually either going to a belt buckle or something else. We'll just say something else. And yes. And you know, obviously be fruitful and multiply was probably the theme of the day back then, especially after a cataclysm.
Fertility was big.
Yes. Get it on. So the fact that I've been into this, I watched Chariots of the Gods when I was a kid, and a show called In Search of that Leonard Nimoy hosted. I'm a big Star Trek fan, so that's the only reason I watched it as a kid. And it was just all these weird ancient mysteries and, you know, Chariots of the Gods, 12th Planet, all that stuff that started me down the rabbit hole decades ago when I was a little kid. But it's gotten so much better now that we're basically comparing notes with civilizations, and we're just seeing so many similarities in shapes and in symbolism. And I think it's really moving forward to the point where, archaeology is so threatened now that, I mean, not everybody, but we got the Flint Dibbles of the world out there, arguing with Graham on Twitter. Like, I'm glad he's got that much time to do it. Like I would think if I was a professor, I wouldn't have time to argue with people on Twitter. I barely do now, and I'm on Twitter a lot. But I mean, I argue once in a while. It's fun, but let's just say that. But no, it's great, and I've this has been tons of fun to like go down this. I was supposed to go with we were supposed to go with Ben to Egypt earlier. Was it this year, Garrett?
It was this year, yeah.
It was this year, but we couldn't. So we're gonna go.
Super recommend it. Ben's tour is so good, and he really beelines you for the ancient tech stuff, which is my favorite view of Egypt, because you can see lots of different kinds of Egypt. You can go and look at all the esoteric stuff. You can go and look at all of the more like mainstream stuff, or you can go for like the jewelry, or the Cleopatra's version of Egypt is miles away. My favorite era of Egypt is the 1st to 5th dynasty. I like the beginnings of it and that whole weird gray area, because they call it the 1st dynasty, but it's not. It's just the 1st dynasty that joined together the north and south. And there's these potentially thousands of years of history that is just not recorded because it was anything pre 1st dynasty. And I'm there's like no one knows hardly anything about it, and I'm like, that's where all the interesting stuff is.
That's where all the cool stuff is. As a matter of fact, our friend Ben, I think, is releasing a video today.
He was live earlier.
Yeah, our live stream today, and he's talking about the metals that they're finding in the
Yes,
the pre-dynastic pots. Hey, I got my 3D printed one.
so do I. It's over there. Great, we're twinning.
There's mine right there.
So gonna check that out. We love Ben. Ben from
Love Ben.
Uncharted X. He's a great dude. So
When are we gonna get your video, Johanna? When's it
Yeah.
coming?
Yeah.
Obviously, you are making a video of your trip to Easter Island.
Oh,
I can't
yes.
wait. When can we
I've started
expect it?
the edit. I've only been back a week, but I've started the edit, and because I wanted to fact check a lot of stuff before I put stuff out and really look into one thing that I did do that I haven't started like looking at is I took the Stellarium app and I pointed the
Love that.
Stellarium app where all the Moai were like looking, and I checked
Oh.
it modern day 1,000 years ago, and as far
wow.
back as Stellarium would let me, which was 6,000 BC. 6,000 BC.
This
and
was
I wanted
while
to-
you were on the island.
while I was on the island.
You were
yeah, because
doing that. Cool.
apparently you can in Stellarium, like the desktop version, you can go back way further than that. But the app, for some reason, the mobile app would cap me out about 6,000 BC. And what I could see was when I went back 6,000 years, all the Moai seemed to be looking at Venus, and I was like, interesting. Okay.
Oh.
And then that shifted out by modern day, but I don't know what that means yet. So I need to just see if is that the start of a road or is that a dead end? I don't know. But
I go right to Velikovsky when I hear that, but that's going down a big rabbit hole.
they're
That's
looking they're looking up for sure rather than looking
Yeah.
like out. They're kind of like this.
Huh.
So yeah, which is interesting because all the statues in Egypt are looking down because they were put up to look down, so that if you were looking up at them, they would literally be like the most terrifying things, like looking down on the subjects. Like, but Moai are looking up, so
That's interesting.
I was like, what are they looking at and when? But
Has anybody thought to do that before? It's pretty smart, actually.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that. Yeah.
I don't know, but that was my idea. I was like, I want to see what the Moai are looking at, because they're looking at something.
And are the Moai in the original positions too?
That's
Right.
good. Yeah, good point.
That's really hard to tell because there are Moai there are the ones still stuck in the ground that never made it out of the island or out of the rock, and then there are the ones on the Ahus that have fallen over or been repositioned back up.
Right.
And then there are Moai that when they were like, there's loads of abandoned ones still, just that someone like dropped it and it cracked and they just left it, and it's just like so it was like a bit haphazard. They're moving them around. So there's lots of broken Moai and yeah, I did wonder. I was like, it's potentially you could rearrange them at different times for different things. Like we do it right now in Egypt. We rearrange so much stuff that in 1,000 years they're not going to know when that was played because they move so much stuff in Egypt. I've been 3 times now, and every time I've gone, because that thing, it's gone. Where's it gone? They move things. They're moving a lot of the stuff that like Ben looks at on the tour. That I've noticed that they're whipping,
really?
they're whipping some things away
Of course.
for safety.
No asking questions.
Oh yeah, it's for their safety from the tourists that they need.
Yeah.
For preservation. They should just bury it.
They-
Shout out to Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy trying to bury stuff.
He's
They
trying
did,
to bury the world.
They did that with some of the crystal. In the step pyramid, they ripped a lot of the crystal out of the step pyramid and were burying it out in the desert.
Weird.
Before 2020, when I went, and apparently for preservation purposes. And I was like, that's a really weird thing to do. Why would you do
That is really bizarre.
It's for
Hope they
future
make a map.
generations.
So I kept a bit of it because there was like shards of kind of the calcite crystal, like the smaller bits. They buried the bigger lumps of it. They look like massive sugar cubes that they'd taken out.
Cool.
But So I commandeered a little bit of it for for history and science purposes.
Well, you're
Yes.
British,
Like,
right?
Very British, yes.
I know,
Yeah.
carrying on the British tradition of stealing
Tradition.
everything. And I also had got a little bit of polished granite from the Giza Plateau,
Cool.
like the red granite, and I've given it at the moment. It's being analyzed under the SEM, the big magnifying cameras, to look to see if there is any chemical analysis or anything microscopic that we can gain. Like, was there some sort of coating that they used to polish it down? I don't know, but I haven't got the results back yet. But that's a little project.
Zahi Awas is putting you on his list right now to
They will never let me back
and
in.
come after
Right.
It's like,
you. Yeah.
Is it bad? That's the first thing I thought of about the Egypt trip and the Peru trip. It's like, what can I get away with? Like,
yeah,
I mean,
look
big,
how-
they-
how
and I
much?
put it in my
Yeah.
pockets.
they're
I know
getting- they're
somebody
getting really
close to
fun.
me that has a piece of the Colosseum from Rome, like a chunk of the Colosseum.
That's why they don't
I'm
let
not gonna-
people.
I'm not
go
gonna
into
say
some
who.
places.
But I've
That's
seen
why
it.
they're
I've held
burying
it.
stuff. It's because you're
pretty
a
cool.
friend.
Yeah.
Are they getting better
your
at
friend.
it, Johanna?
Well,
Like,
the pyramid code. Sorry, there's a lot of vandalism actually that happens also to these ancient things. It's not that people are even stealing; it's just like kids are going and they're tagging with spray paint or carving their own stuff over ancient hieroglyphs or like ancient cave paintings or stuff like that.
Oh,
I've
people
seen
are
documentaries about it.
even on Easter Island, you actually can't get that close to a lot of the stuff, and there's people who patrol on horseback to be like, no. But we were at quite a distance. I recommend taking a good camera that you can really zoom in with, because I realized when I got there, I was like, my iPhone's not strong enough to like get right in. But yeah, they had to sort of move the barrier back, because that big sphere, the big sphere that they got there, somebody like graffiti tagged on it, some idiots, and so they've had to, like, you can't really get that close to it. People used to be able to go and do a little test and put their own little like compass on it and watch it spin around. The fun for
Interesting.
everyone. So well done. I hope you're
Yeah.
pleased with yourself.
yeah, you used to be able to walk around in Stonehenge. Now you can't. Now walk around it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all locked off.
You
After
can
getting off
you
50 buses.
Or the
you
summer
can
solstice
twice a
solstice?
year. Yeah, you can. They allow twice
Yeah.
a year. They allow people up. I got to go up close the first time I ever saw Stonehenge. I actually had a job for English Heritage. I used to present for their TikTok channel, and they were like, "Oh, do you want to present at Stonehenge?" And I was like, "Yes." So I got there early, and I did my little pre-scripted thing for English Heritage, and then I had like 20 minutes left, and I was like, "Can I just run around with my camera?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure." They didn't realize what I did or who I was, and so I quickly like vlogged running around Stonehenge, and then English Heritage saw my YouTube, and they were like, "Please, can you put a disclaimer that we do not agree with anything you're saying?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was not
I'm
asked
surprised
that.
they didn't ask you to take it down.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
That's a shame.
but
Better off
it's
anyway.
my Stonehenge video on my YouTube channel is basically me for 20 minutes. I got 20 minutes, but that was amazing.
Yeah, we all went there last year, and we were cordoned off. You know, they have a line, and there's like a
way.
bunch of people standing there, like,
Yeah,
Nope,
you're quite
no.
far back, aren't you?
And the bus
Yeah.
shows up, and it's like you have T minus 1
20
minute to get all the way
Yeah.
over there and look at
You
it.
got to
and come
walk
back.
a mile, and
Yeah.
it was like 100 degrees. It was
Gosh,
actually
geez.
hot. Yeah, it was lots of fun.
yeah, it was
Our
brutal.
Our friend with one leg, they wouldn't even give him the seat on the bus.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And they separated our party. We had 4 people, and they put us in 2 different
6.
buses.
Two,
Oh, that's
two,
true,
and
yeah,
two.
Yeah. 6,
Yeah,
they
that was
separated us out.
that was not
cool.
fun, but we got to see a lot of the
Did
Royals.
you see Avery?
No, we're gonna go to Avery next year. Next year,
Because Avery is completely opposite to Stonehenge. It's very near Stonehenge. There are some really big rocks there, and you can go up and touch everything, which is really fun. I also
Cool.
saw that site with Ben. I tagged along on Ben's Avery tour, and yeah, you get to go up and touch the stone. Apparently, if you touch the Avery stones, you can get like good energy, and it lasts for like 4 days. Apparently, everything's sort of like comes into. So I was like, why not? I'll have a little bit of
Yeah,
good juju. So just touch
I'm
it.
gonna do that the first day I'm there.
Yeah,
The hell?
just recharge.
Yeah, we should have gone there. We talked about it. But we, yeah.
It's good. It's
Well,
free.
well,
It's free and you can touch it. So that
Right, yeah.
As long as you come to my neck of the woods, I got a
plan
stone.
on- It's gonna happen.
My neighbor or plot of land is actually a heritage site in Sweden, and there's a stone on it from the Viking era that says 1382, I think 1382. So
we'll come
Vikings used to live in
Sweden.
the woods behind my house.
We're gonna be
Yeah.
there for a month. That's the plan. I mean, I don't know if everybody can do that, but I'm gonna be there
I'm
for a
gonna do
month.
it.
So
You guys got to come by.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Are we ready for some super chats?
Ready.
do
Ready,
this.
ready.
Wait, but before we go to soups,
sure.
Johanna, I have to ask you, where is your next trip? You've been to so many cool spots. What are you excited to go to that you like? It's on your list of places to go.
My 2 next top trips that I want to see. I really want to see Petra in Jordan.
Yeah.
And but I'm sort of waiting until the Israel situation gets to like a safe ceasefire. I don't know what the travel situation is like
Makes
over there.
sense.
It's very close to the border. But I want to see Azores. I know that Randall Carlson, his team have done a sort of scout job out to the Azores to see, because touring the Azores is like a dream.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of waiting to see if there's any movement on his tours, because his tour will probably be amazing.
True.
Or if not, me and Luke have chatted about it. We've also looked at logistically what we could do to get out to the Azores. So Azores and Petra, probably.
Nice.
Well, speaking of Luke, if people don't already know, you guys have a podcast. as
Yes.
well.
We do, yeah. We've just started it. We're about 6 steps in. We're working it out as we go along. But we both really content creation it can be quite lonely, because you're sort of talking to yourself and you're making in front of a camera talking to people but with yourself. And me and Luke were like, hey, why don't we just like do a podcast where we kind of research together live, and we just sort of we can Google bring a subject and we'll brainstorm it and just Google live what we want to. Yeah, and we're still working out what it is, but yeah, Raiders of the Past is our podcast. If anyone
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
It takes a little time to work it out, but they eventually work out. Like, and then for some of us, we just never work it out, but we do it anyway.
you
'cause it's
guys-
fun. This is the fun.
you guys are so slick. Like Luke, we're trying to work out, like we're actually getting like a theme tune made and everything. And
Oh,
Luke's really
yeah.
excited about doing like an intro animation. He was like, look at Nerdrotic stuff. Like it's got to be like this. I was like, yep. So we're copying you guys, absolutely.
Oh, cool. We can. If you
Thank you.
need any help with anything, do not hesitate to ask.
Oh, thank
Perry.
you.
Perry's our guy.
Perry, he's the dude.
Perry is
He's
our man.
Amazing.
Garrett's all right too. He's okay.
Yeah, I'm backup.
He
man.
made the
I'm okay
intro
with being the
to
backup.
this
You know,
show.
I love you, man.
Perry is a freaking magician.
Yes.
So good.
Agreed.
Yeah, that intro is Perry and Mahler did the voiceover. Mahler's awesome.
Yeah.
We got Andrew Matthews for £5 proper money. We finally have 3 good-looking people on here: X-Ray, Johanna, and Quarter Black. Sorry, Adam, but after seeing a petrol fight, male models are strange now. Oh, Zoolander. Yeah, because you've probably never heard that joke before.
Way too many times.
Way too many times. You were a male model, yet I'm still your friend. It's all right.
Thanks.
somehow.
Thanks, buddy.
You and your duck
Thank you.
lips.
I've never done that, and I never got paid to do that either.
What if they
Robert,
like an extra $100? Do the duck lips.
do the duck lips.
For you,
Robert-
Garrett, you don't have to pay me anything.
All right, thanks, man.
Robert McDonald for $50. With applause there. Thank you very much. Keep up the great work here this evening. Really wish I could stay. Will you have to finish it later? Have to go back to cover the Definitely Not Our Ryan Diversity Officer event. Oh boy, what's going on? I'll catch
Fun.
the Rumble tomorrow for your take. Great job on the overdub, Johanna, by the way. say
Thank
great
you
job.
very much.
And Ian So Forth has gifted 10 Nerdrotic Live memberships for $50. Thank you, my friend. Ian. Hickory chip for $1. Finally, some real Australian representation here. That's our audience. It's okay.
Lord.
All accents sound the same to us bloody Americans. But Western Civilization for $10. What's happening, hot stuff? And hello to you, Gary, Adam, and Johanna. You know, Garrett's not here to be easy on the eyes for you. That wasn't Zorbu. No.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
We have to.
He's just got multiple accounts.
We bring up yeah. So we have to tell our guest what. Like, she's like,
Sure.
what the hell are you talking about? So Zorbu, when we talk about alien stuff, Zorbu's the guy who comes and abducts Garrett every week.
He's our resident alien.
He's our resident alien. So
yeah.
Linking 98 for $10. We're 5 years in, and NPC still believe, quote unquote, the science. I'm sorry, but if you still trust the media, even after people got tired of the mandates, you're more senile than the current president. Well, I am probably as senile, but I don't believe the media.
Probably
not really well known for believing them very much. But Switzerland play IT for $1. Different time in the past and same gender attracted. There you go. And then we have Forbidden Frontier is always my go-to show before I start streaming. Love this show and all of you. Hail. Thank you, Eric John Pizza Art. And that's what he does. He does pizza art. I actually have a picture of a pizza he did of my face. That was I would have
pizza or
no, it's just art. It's like, but he made it a real pizza. Yeah. I would have ate it too. Yeah.
So you could have eaten your own face.
Yes.
On a pizza.
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
What time is your show Monday? You all rock, by the way. Zoltar for $5. It will be 11 tomorrow. 11.
Or 6:30 Eastern time. He was obviously asking me, Gary.
Oh, my show.
No, he wasn't.
No, it's all right. At 6:30 Eastern for his show. Radio Man 1017 for $10. I was on the Great Wall of China in 2019 and saw a small rock at my feet and wanted to snag it so bad, but figured I'd end up in a gulag somewhere. Great show, guys.
Smart.
You probably would. Yeah.
Smart.
That's, like
I'm not condoning taking anything, by the way. When I said I know someone who has a piece of the Colosseum. All right.
And
shame on you, Johanna, for taking that stuff.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Shame.
She's a rebel. I like it.
You're muted. I can't hear you.
Oh, I muted myself. Or maybe they muted me. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Zahiwas. He's like, haha, we're gonna bring her down.
As somebody
She admitted it.
who might have spent time a little bit in a foreign jail, you don't want to do that. Okay. You
absolutely don't. And they're getting more and more and more hot on it. Like in Egypt, when you leave, you get like a personal bag check before you get on the plane. So you go through normal security like you would, but then they literally make you take out everything and they bag check. Like, yeah, it's scary.
Makes sense.
Can you take sand?
No, that you
Probably
can't.
not. No.
And especially, I've been warned, Turkey is really strict.
Yes, brutal.
If you take the tiniest thing, even if it's just on the side of the road or anything, you will be in jail. So yeah.
Wow.
You ever been to a Turkish prison? Sorry.
Don't plan on.
Don't plan on that.
Wallet.
Nope. Oh no. You can buy stuff.
Not worth it.
You can actually buy. I mean, like, you can get like Roman coins, and there's stuff you can buy that's relatively cheap. I'll put the air quotes up for that. Now, is it real? I have no idea. There's Zorbu right here. Is gifted 5 Nerdrotic Live memberships for $25. There he is. He's very generous after he assaults Garrett every night. Tolkien Brown for $10. I'm a huge fan of this amazing lady, not talking about Quarter Black Garrett, by the way. Love her passion in the field and her recent live streams with Luke. Keep it up, JJ.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Hail, everyone. And hi, Miss James. Easter Island appears to be completely denuded, not a tree. I didn't know that. Is that a word? It probably is.
I've never heard that.
I've never heard of denuded. I think nuded, right? Wouldn't it be nude if it lost all its trees? But not a tree on it. Is there evidence of what kinds of flora and fauna were present when these statues were created?
So from what I could tell, the tropical palm trees that are now on the island, like around the beach area, they were recently planted in the last 100 years. There is a lack of tree. It's very flat. You've got the mountains and the volcanoes and a lot of grass, but there is like a lack of trees on the island. I know that and this is something that I wanted to like fully research before I do my video, because there is studies coming out to say that the civilization collapse actually it doesn't show up in the DNA testing. So the idea that they used all the wood and then they collapsed down to 100 people, not that's something that I'm still in the mix of reading the papers on, because the DNA evidence says that didn't happen. But there is definitely like not a lot of trees there at all, from what I could see. It's very
What about animals? Is there like wildlife
that's a
that
good
you
question.
saw?
a lot of stray dogs.
Oh, that's sad.
A lot of
Okay.
stray. Yeah, I was like giving them my pizza and everything I could. I'm a big
They're
dog lover.
flourishing.
But luckily they are like friendly and they look quite healthy compared to some of the
Okay.
other countries, like Egyptian
But
dogs
not wildlife though.
Yeah.
But there's big birds, seabirds that we saw. We saw like these big kind of. I was like, is that an Alcatraz? But yeah. Oh no, and that Alcatraz, that's in Harry Potter.
Albatross.
That's what I mean,
That's-
that's the one. Sorry, it's gone past 1 in the
Francisco.
morning here, guys.
Yeah.
But
Thank you.
Oh yeah, it's 2 here. So got you.
yes. But I didn't see a lot. So what did they say that was naturally occurred? Not a. Oh no, I can't think. I'll come back. I'll circle back if it arrives at me. But
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. Hail everyone. Hi. Oh, I read that one. Jackson Cagle for $2 says, "Hi, Miss James. Intriguing indeed." Probably something we said earlier, but it's all been intriguing. John Cannon for 10 British pounds. I'd love to go into northern Afghanistan, as ruins of a Greco-Indian village have been found with mosaics showing Greek and Indian gods, and Buddhist texts have been translated into Greek. We have talked about that. Think of all the war-torn countries right now, and let's just say not super welcoming countries, to be very nice about it. Like, what's there? Like what's in Iran? What's in Afghanistan? Yeah, it hasn't been destroyed. It's probably crazy and could upset the paradigm again. I don't know if we'll ever find out, but I hope we do someday.
I mean, think about that strip, from Egypt up to Turkey, Baalbek. There's so many sites along that area. If you just go further east, right? Man, really sad.
Aberjam for $1. Am I the only one who thinks Crigler is a ringer for Halbrand in Rings of Power? No, you're not. He looks just like him.
You put on a wig.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
It's okay.
You're lucky.
Pop culture.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that show. But
Zorbu for $10 says, you ask how do we navigate across the stars? It's simple, Gary. We plan it ahead of time. And if you don't like that one, I've got 20 more just like it, baby. You're a dad, so you're allowed. I'll give you that.
Oh, Zorbu's a dad? I didn't know.
Yeah, Zorbu's a dad.
Yeah, we have a butt baby.
Daddy Zorbu.
Daddy Zorbu. There you go.
So wait, Garrett, are you the mother?
Yes, of
I
course.
carried him.
Okay.
I created him.
Wow. All right.
Jackson
Learn
Cagle
something new
for
every day.
$2 says £2 on Siberia. £2 on Siberia.
£2. That's a bet that's going to come back for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'd bet more than £2 on Siberia.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck? Quelndar on the Streamlabs side for $500. $500. Quelndar.
Yo! I'm sorry, I gotta drop the hype music.
Serious.
That is massive. Wow.
Like my remix
That's
there?
a flight to Rapanui.
Is it?
Yeah, it's about $500
You knew me.
return
I knew it. I was
You know,
feeling
That's
it.
not bad.
You know.
from Chile. So yeah, halfway
Hey,
there.
And it could be just a tour of Rapanui because you could circle around it and fly to Chile and back and not land.
He just looks
Good
like,
point.
Happy birthday to me. The intelligent and beautiful Johanna James live on Forbidden Frontier. Also got to see Blazing Saddles in the theater. Yep, 50th anniversary of Blazing Saddles today.
Yeah.
One of the greatest
Oh,
comedies ever made.
Rad.
Yes. And it's this show is the only reason I didn't go, but it's okay. I'd rather do this show. I've seen it 100 times. It's been a great day. Hail the Forbidden Frontier.
Thank you.
And hail to you. Hail to you.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Happy
birthday. That's a good birthday. Go see a movie.
Definitely.
See a
Thank you
funny
very much.
movie that they could never make again today. Offer
Sadly.
Nave for $5. Thor Heyerdahl's cousin's son is Christopher Heyerdahl, who played characters in Stargate SG-1 and Atlantis. Wow. No way.
Mm,
Small world. Small
great
world.
shows.
John Kennedy for
Good movie.
$5. Lost Continent of Mu. That's what he's very excited about it. Hannibal
Not a
Grimm
bad
for
movie.
$5. Dry Land is not a myth. I've seen it.
nice.
Mac-
You know what?
Oh,
That
well.
was a good movie too. I like that
I
one.
love Waterworld.
I do
People
too.
hate on it.
They hate on it, but
I don't
it's
understand.
so good.
It's so good.
It's
Hey,
a good time.
I like
Make it-
Waterworld.
Kevin
I
Costner
like
doesn't have a
Waterworld.
name
And you
in
don't
it.
like Stargate?
No.
What?
I don't get you. I don't understand
That
it.
doesn't make sense. Sorry. Whatever.
Kurt
we can move
Russell
on.
alone.
Right?
Waterworld.
Kurt
Waterworld-
Russell
talked
and
about
James Spader? Come on. Sorry.
But
Johanna,
Waterworld is great.
does this
Alright.
make sense? He doesn't like
Johanna
Stargate.
likes
the movie.
Waterworld. Let's talk about she likes Waterworld.
I like both. I like both.
Yeah.
Ooh, which do I like better?
Both are good movies.
That's a good question.
I like Waterworld.
There's-
Waterworld is like
Stargate.
Mad Max.
I think
with
Stargate's
water.
better.
Hopper. 2 words.
Yeah.
Dennis
Den-
Hopper.
Dennis
Okay.
Hopper as the villain.
Smokers.
Rest in peace. Rest
Yes.
in peace.
But
Great
yeah,
movie.
Kevin Costner doesn't have a name in that movie. He's just the mariner.
He's the Wanderer.
The fish boy.
And the bit when he takes her down in the bubble and it's New York City, or like that freaked me out. Like,
Yeah, it's
wow.
cool. Such
Yeah,
a
it's
cool
cool.
concept.
That was an
Good scene.
expensive movie. Woo,
That was
that was
an
an
expensive movie.
yeah, I don't hate the Postman either. Friday me. A lot of people. I
never
didn't.
saw that one.
I thought Horizon was good. I liked it. The first part. We'll find out
Haven't
about
seen
the
that
second
either.
part, but I liked Horizon. I like Costner as an actor. But yeah, I could go off for an hour on why I didn't like the Stargate movie, and I have my reasons. But we're gonna continue. Okay, we're gonna
Oh,
continue
man.
instead of this
We're just gonna do an
Un-
entire episode on Stargate.
unwarranted
It's the
abuse I'm
movie.
getting.
You
do
say
you
the
guys-
word.
Do you guys know that there are real stargates in Egypt?
Go on.
There are. It's inscripted on them in Karnak and the Ramesseum. There are these granite like walkways that
Yeah.
literally have a Stargate. Like it translates as Stargate. There, it's on
No,
there.
I didn't know that.
I
And,
But I
didn't
need
know that
to know
either.
more.
and there's one
I
of them. There's a video on my channel. There's one of them where one of the Stargates, and again, this is granite, and it is a head scratcher for any geologist, cool to any geologist who can work out this riddle. The Stargate has like disintegrated from the inside out, which granite like doesn't do that. And it's become it's in an area of Karnak temple that's
Stargate
cordoned off.
Anomaly? Is that the
The
name
Stargate-
of that?
I think that's and I got it's a cordoned off area of Karnak temple, but it's just like a little rope, so you can run behind it. But it's this stuff is just like dust, and it's cracked. Something has damaged the granite Stargate, and it looks like it's like bubbling from the inside out and then disintegrating. It's so weird. We had a geologist lady there that was like, "Shouldn't do that," and I was like,
Cool.
"What happened?" So and my brain goes, oh my god, like an
Obviously-
energy force field blew it up from the
Exactly.
inside out. But there
Oh,
is there are literal stargates that are all around Egypt.
Well, I'll be watching this as soon as we end this show.
Yeah.
See, that's why we
Yeah.
started the war in Iraq to get the Stargates. Okay, from Baghdad. You've never heard that one?
I mean, that's a weapon of mass
I feel like
destruction.
we talked about it maybe.
Yeah, might have talked about it a couple times.
And you go through them and you end up in India and Barabar.
There you go. Oh,
It's a portal.
Mm.
are we getting any Peru videos or pictures? No, I'm going to go there and just not take any pictures. It's
Yeah.
With your
Or
mind.
video.
Mental-
back. No,
Right.
Yeah.
There will be content. I don't know what the internet's going to be like there at all, so we'll figure it out.
Just document it all.
We're gonna record stuff.
You don't
I'm
need internet. Just
like
film
like
everything.
like the UK. All my travel equipment is. I mean, I really very much want to keep it all, but I am prepared to lose it for the trip. So it's not the best of the best. All right, it's potentially disposable equipment that hopefully I don't lose. Nathan Cassidy for $4.99. Hearing her talk about the myths makes me mind draft back to Bionicle. Oh, good old Bionicle. Because the first gen used a lot of Moai words like Matanui, Tau, and how do I say this one? Kanohi. Maybe I mispronounced it though.
Oh yeah, Motanui is very near Rapanui, I think. Unless I misheard them saying that. But
No, that's Matanui, yeah.
you know the Tri-Wizard tournament of Rapanui Island? They would have to swim out to Motanui, and that's where the bird eggs would.
And you have to get
Which made me think, I was like, I swear that's in Moana. Motanui.
Motunui,
that
yeah,
where-
that's the
that's-
island she's from, I think, right?
That's where the rock goes.
Or is it
No.
the stone
she finds-
in the movie?
Yeah, I don't know.
I've
But
seen the
I
movie like so many
Google it.
times. I
It's
haven't seen it
Motunui.
yet, so
My wife is obsessed with the Shiny song.
Oh yeah.
I'm shiny.
Shiny.
That one.
Oh, no,
I've heard
Motu-
that song a million times, but I've never seen the movie.
Oh no, I think it's Motunui is the island where Moana's from, but
she's from. That's I was right.
Yeah, she's from. You were
Seen
right.
it too
10
many
points.
times.
Too
10
many
points
times.
to Gryffindor.
Seen it too much.
But then there's definitely an island that might be called like Mota Nui. It's probably different.
Yeah.
I'd love you guys to have John. Is it Levi or Levy? Or Michelle Gibson on. The world fairs are just as inexplicable as the megaliths, but much more recent. Mud flood.
mean, it's all-
Got to look into the mud flood more.
Either way, there's a lot of sediment there. We've got to account for about 12 foot of sediment.
Yeah,
very
it's
quickly.
a lot.
Which apparently is not purposely put there.
Yeah, it was enough for Robert Schoch to bring it up and be one of the first things he noticed. He's like, this isn't right.
And
Geologist.
another thing, so if it is rising at a rate that is like phenomenal for some reason for that part of the world, I looked at my footage of the heads that are coming out of the mountains, and then I looked at, you can Google like original sketches of the Europeans when they arrived in Easter Island in 1722. They did like sketches of what there was, so it's kind of a similar to a photograph. It's the same.
Mhm.
So that means that the sediment level must have risen from like 1200 to 1700, and then since 1700 to now stopped.
Nothing.
It stopped.
Because if anything, maybe a little bit, but the heads are in the same place. I can literally see side by sides of the sketches from 1722 and my footage. So I'm like, why did it stop then? If it does naturally just rise so much, why does it stop now?
Because they're actually 14,000 years old.
Yeah.
Because they're
Or more.
Oh, we got Zorbu back. Zorbu for $10 on the Streamlabs side said, sorry, Earthlings, we too have a sponsor, so I got to read this ad. Tonight's Zorbu chat was brought to you by Probomatic. It probes automatically, and now we set for stun model quarter Earthling user review gives it 5 stars at Walgreens everywhere.
I didn't say you could use my review. I told you that in confidence.
But he did.
You didn't check the box for
Dang
private.
it. He's just giving my information out now.
Matthew Hammond for $4.99 is not talking about Stargate, which is kind of shocking because we've actually talked about it this show. Did you see the U.S. Air Force is going back to Easter Island? They are spreading out their bases in the Pacific to avoid another Pearl Harbor. Oh, great.
Oh, my goodness.
Great. Yeah.
Spreading democracy.
More for the war machine. Yay.
I mean, there's not a lot of space there.
No.
Yeah, where are they going to put it?
A lot of it's so protected now. So there's arguments internally on the island between whether or not they should preserve and like put back the Moai that have fallen over, or like should we excavate some more and preserve them in museums, or do we just like leave them be? And they're constantly arguing over what to do, and I think the winning argument is just leave it.
Yeah.
So they're not moving. Like they'd recently discovered another Moai that they hadn't found before, and instead of like excavating it or looking into it, they were like, just leave, put it back. So
Who owns that island? Like what country is
uh,
it part of?
Chile took it
It does.
under their
It's
wing
Chile.
in the 1800s, but it's not Chile culture. It's very much Polynesian. So
Okay.
you arrive in Chile and you get on a plane, and then it's worlds apart. And apparently Chile don't really have much to do with it. They've kind of gifted it back to the Rapanui people to say, like, you know about this, you do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're not far from equipment to where if something's just buried, we're going to be able to see it in detail.
And that's what I'm waiting
Yeah.
for. Because I did say this to the guy, because we had 2 tour guides, and one tour guide was very passionately Rapanui history. Like he really believes that it's all attributed to the Rapanui between the dates of 1200 to 1600. And I was like, okay, but how far down have we excavated? Because you don't do a lot of excavation. You're very much like leave it, and you've only excavated a couple of the ones on the mountain. Like, how deep have you dug? Like, I was like, what if potentially there's like another Vinapu, but it's
Another
you know,
layer of Moai.
it's about
like
20
1,000 more.
Yeah, like what if this was the top layer, all the ones that
Yeah.
had been dug out at some and I was like, are you open to that? And he was like, probably not, but maybe. But like I'm just saying, as
He
an
wasn't.
example, we didn't know that what was under the ground in Turkey, and now so much is coming out
Göbekli
of the
Tepe.
ground.
Exactly what
And
I was thinking.
I now have that as my barometer, and I'm like, okay, have we checked the Göbekli Tepe layer of everything?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now going, why not? Maybe I'm open to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, even in Egypt, even the most academic Egyptologist says, oh, we've only gotten a fraction. Like so much is under the sand.
Yep.
And
What's under
and
the
Egypt-
Sahara? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Egypt is the restart that they even say themselves. They are the 2.0. They
Kemet.
restarted, and the everything else was along the river that is now would be under the Sahara Desert.
Mhm.
And I'm imagining that if Giza and all of the sites along the Nile are like this civilization 2.0's version of temples and whatnot, I'm just like, oh, imagine what's under
Mhm.
the Sahara. Please, I hope I'm alive when we can scan that.
Yeah. Yep.
Or I'll just get a spade. I'll just start,
Yep.
I'll just
I'll figure it
see
out.
how far I get.
The account names. I'm sorry. The account name. Hemorrhoid Hurts for $2 Australian says it's modern, but 1769 transit of Venus. What a story. I don't know.
Okay.
I know Velikovsky's version, but it wasn't 1769. It was that Venus is a giant comet that just got captured by the sun's orbit. Worlds in collision. I read the book. We were going through our stuff, and my wife informed me last night that I have 3 copies of that book. So over the period of 20 years, didn't think I had the book, and I bought a first print. So now I have 3 first prints of it. So might be giving
Wow.
stuff away. Memory's not as good as it used to be, guys. Okay. It's a little late night eBaying. It's like, oh, I need this book. And she's like, why don't you look for it first? It's like, why? The Raven and the Writing Desk for $2.79. Can you recommend a Göbekli Tepe tour operator? Johanna?
I don't know anyone.
There's a lot coming out now because there's a lot. So I went with Adept Expeditions, which I've done. That's who I went to Easter Island with. And I've done Turkey and Egypt twice with them, and I've done Egypt with Ben from Uncharted X. So I can just personally recommend those guys because that's where I've been from. But yeah, they're the only 2 that I could that I can vouch for because I haven't been on any other ones.
Yeah,
but I'm sure
Hugh Newman does one.
Yes.
Megalithomania.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they have a lot of inside tracks. Never been on it myself though, but met Hugh.
Yeah,
Wonderful
Hugh's lovely.
dude. Yeah.
I met Hugh at Cosmic, and actually, no, I'd met him previously at Avery. I crashed his tour for one day. But Hugh's probably, if Göbekli Tepe is your jam, he's probably like the guy. He's so
True.
in the knowledge of Göbekli Tepe. And yeah, so he would also be great.
Simon Ho for 2 Canadian pesos says Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt and no tourists. I wonder why.
Yeah, but they're different pyramids. They're definitely smaller, and their tombs are like made for tomb purpose.
Yeah.
Pyramids, if you know what I mean. Like they're slightly so there's loads of them, literally thousands. There's hundreds of pyramids in Egypt, and there's even more in Sudan, but they're different shapes as well. They're not the it's a different type of triangle, and some of them are quite tiny, and they are definitely tombs. So it's more of a
Yeah, here's
not so much a mystery.
It's
yeah,
not-
that's
yeah.
why.
Yeah.
And
No,
they're smaller. It's
Yeah.
the big stuff. Do you want to go, wow?
I talked about it a couple shows ago. It's again, I haven't been there, but the sheer size of the pyramids at Giza, we're used to it now because we've seen pictures, we've seen people standing next to them. They've been part of our lives, our entire lives. But imagine if that's just something that just showed up in the last couple of years, and how our perspective would be on. We'd be all, what the fuck? That thing is how old, and we don't really know. And how in the hell did they do that? And that's kind of what Göbekli Tepe is. It's something that it's so impossibly old, and they found it, I mean, relatively recently, right? So I think it's perspective. Yeah, the Sudan pyramids they're cool looking. They're the little more pointy ones, and they're tiny, but yeah, tombs.
And I don't know if you can go inside the Sudan ones. I don't know that, but you can crawl in and around a lot of the Egyptian ones, which is athletically challenging. I'll tell you.
A
Gotta be
double
fit.
hawk. You got to be fit.
To do a temple run and a pyramid run.
I'm down.
Double hawk for $5. Since the Moai were originally looking up, we must conclude, using Rings of Power logic, oh boy, that they are able to float on water. Exactly. That's a direct line from the show. Stones look up at boats that float. I still don't know what that means, but yeah. It's not anything Tolkien ever wrote. Matthew Hammond for $3. It says Matt the Hammond, X-Ray Girl. Can Johanna and Adam tell Gary and X-Ray Girl that they need to start watching Stargate SG-1 before Peru? I emailed the watch order from gateworld.net to you. Is there a watch order?
I didn't even know there was a watch
Wouldn't you just
order,
watch
so
them
that's
in
cool.
order? Is there a different watch order? I mean, I respect that. I absolutely respect.
Maybe is the release orders different?
Maybe.
Because like
Original?
yeah.
Yeah. I'd even watch the movie again. I mean, it's okay. I'm not going to change my mind on it, but whatever.
Are you
Last
sure?
one of the night. I am busy watching the X-Files right now. X-Files, the last one I watched, great episode about this bovine chemical that they're putting in the cows that's making everybody rageful and like do horrible things. And the one good guy that gets Scully and Mulder like on the right track is like, yeah, I used to be a rancher. Now we're putting in so the cows basically breed twice as big and twice as more. And that's what the kids were eating, the bad meat. And Mulder's like, well, it was FDA approved. He's all, do you trust the government? I don't trust the government. I'm like, I knew I loved this show for a reason. I knew I loved this show for a reason. So yeah, the bovine, the meat was making everybody like rape everybody and murder everybody. Is pretty terrible. Jose Contreras for $1. Shout out to Luke Cavern. Just hit 50,000 subscribers. And he's in Peru right now eating guinea pigs. I am not eating that stuff.
I'm gonna eat it.
Well,
I'm gonna find the closest guinea pig.
You're not gonna try it?
I used to
don't
have
like to
guinea
see.
pigs.
Yeah.
But
So
would
there's.
you try it though?
So do you know? I mean, I'm sure you do. There's a delicacy there apparently that's like a guinea pig on a stick.
Yeah.
And it's like the whole.
No.
Yeah, it's the whole guinea pig. and like,
They take the fur off, right? As long
yeah,
as they take the fur off.
Nope,
just-
you got to eat the fur.
no, they don't
Garrett.
take anything else off. They took the fur, and that's it.
All right, I'll try.
Whole butt, everything. You got to eat the
Every-
whole thing.
The
Everything.
butt is usually the
The
best.
Giblets.
first bite is usually the butt. So I
Yeah.
hear.
So
Ooh.
I'm a vegetarian, so I
Big butt?
travel to a lot of.
So
a
you
lot
don't
of
have
the
to worry about it.
Oh yeah.
So I won't eat a guinea pig, but I won't even eat a cow. But I'm traveling to a lot of countries that don't really understand the concept of a vegetarian. So like I'm in Turkey and I'm like, oh no, sorry, I'm a vegetarian. They're like, chicken? And I'm like,
That-
nothing with a face. Nothing with a face. And I'm not lying. They gave me I had cheese and bread for 10 days, and they would give me half a raw onion.
You're like,
You're like,
Here.
ooh,
this
delicacy.
is-
I
The
was like-
onion eater over here.
Thank you.
But Rapanui had beautiful food. So it was the first tour I've been on where I didn't get a bad tummy from food, and it was just beautiful food.
That's good. As a sober person, it's like, you don't drink beer? No, I'm sober.
Yeah, like
Wine? No.
No.
Smoke a joint?
Vodka.
No. No, sober. Completely sober.
Doesn't count.
All right, so that's it. We have done it. Wait, no, there's two more. Sorry. Bigfoot has shown up. I don't believe in you. I don't believe in you.
But he
For
super
$10.
chats every week.
I still don't believe in it. Is it just Bigfoot, or does Andy Dick look like
Kathy Griffin.
Kathy Griffin? A true mystery. Ruminate on this. I don't. I hope Andy Dick gets help. I hope he gets help. I think he's in
Yeah.
jail right now, right? I hope he gets help.
Yeah, I think he's committed some
Yeah.
crimes.
Well,
He sexually assaulted me.
Wait,
Gunter O'Dim for
Yeah,
$5.
I'm serious.
Oh.
I wasn't joking.
Wait, for real?
I was
Yeah,
like,
Andy Dick.
I
yeah.
thought you were just joking. You weren't?
No. I'm dead serious.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was at a party in New York and he tried to do things. I was like, get off me! Like,
Andy Dig? What are you doing?
Yeah, it was gross.
He has a bit of a reputation about that.
Yeah.
Gunter O'Dim for $5. For fuck's sake, Gary, finish Stargate 1 and Witcher 3. Someday. Hopefully I have some time
One
left.
day he'll get through the
Interesting.
door.
Okay, Z and Who for $7.42. Quarter black. It's called Kai. Look it up. C-U-Y. I don't even know what I just said. I could have just said something horrible right there.
Gooey.
Cooey.
Oh, yeah, the guinea pigs.
Oh, the guinea
I'd eat
pigs.
it. Looks
Oh,
like
the
looks
guinea
like
Well-
For the record, I wouldn't.
I
eat them.
won't show
No
it.
way. No way. No way.
It'd be like eating my
I'll eat them.
dog. I couldn't.
Yeah. No way. I'll have chicken.
They serve it with chips. Little
I'll have some chips.
French fries. Little French fries next to it.
Yeah.
Garrett-
Like a pepper.
Garrett's like, first thing off the plane, I'm guinea pig.
Show me the guinea pigs.
Jeez.
Uh
It's a little weird.
Johanna,
It's
thank you
just-
for coming on.
When in Rome.
When okay, or when in Peru.
It's a South American hot dog.
That's all it is. Put it in a bun. Johanna, thanks for putting up with us tonight. I
Thanks
appreciate
for having
it.
me on. This is so fun. Thanks, guys.
Tell the fine folks where to find you and what you got coming up next.
I'm at Funny Old World, pretty much everywhere, like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I don't have Twitter anymore because everyone was just mean and grumbly, and I was like, yeah, I can't be bothered. Can't be bothered fighting people on Twitter. But everywhere else, Funny Old World. And yeah, so an Easter Island video coming up probably in the next week. I'm challenged myself to get it done by next week, and hopefully more adventures in the Azores. And Raiders of the Past podcast, and it's going to be on Mondays. Now Luke is going full-time content creator, YouTuber. We're going to try and lock in like Monday nights as our podcasting.
I love that he made the jump. We talked
Yeah.
about it a little bit. He's like, I don't know. I'm like,
I know. I was like, dude, when you do that, and you're going to fly. It's going to be great.
Yep.
So hyped.
Yep.
Got such good quality content. So
he got his first 100,000 view video out.
Yeah.
Hit 50K. And he was like, when I did it, it was completely irresponsible. Where he's at, he's in a good place. So I just got
yeah,
lucky.
he's ready to go. Oh, and one last thing I'd recommend for Rapanui if you're gonna go, and if you're in the market for, or even if you're not for getting a tattoo, it is one of the best places to go to get tattoos because they are excellent at tattoos. Everyone's got them, and I got a little Moai guy.
Oh,
cool.
nice. Now,
Oh,
did they,
that's great.
okay. Did they use a gun or did they use like the old school technique? That's awesome.
That's cool.
Like needles.
Like,
Yeah.
No.
Where they-
I've had poke tattoo in in Iceland. Never again. That was hell.
Yeah.
Nope. No, this was modern with the gun, but the guy did it freehand. He did like
Wow.
a bunch of us went and
No
found him. We
stencil.
were like, no stencil, no. And I told
That was
him
clean.
I was like, yeah, it's beautiful. And he did something different for there was like 10 of us that were turned up at his shop wanting ink, and took like 10 minutes. He was beautiful.
Oh, whoa.
filled up.
That was
Heat up
10
paper.
minutes?
It took 10 minutes. He just does it freehand. Like they are artists.
That's
It's
crazy.
honestly,
Yeah,
I was
cool.
like, dude, if this guy, if he was in London, he would be making so much money.
oh, yeah. Melissa's
Deliver.
down. Melissa's down
Nice.
to try it. There you go. All right.
The guinea pig? Really?
No, she's eating the guinea pig too. No, she'll get the
Oh,
ink.
she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're eating guinea pig. I'm sorry.
She
I was joking,
has,
but-
she has more ink than I do. So I did the old school one, but that's a long story. We're not going to do it. I'll never do that again. I'll never do that again.
It was with a
It's
plastic
horrible.
fork.
It
And
was
some
with a
pin ink.
it was a sharpened piece of plastic. I'm pretty sure it was a toothbrush. Pretty sure it used
Wow.
to be a toothbrush, and it hurt like hell. Hurt like hell.
I believe it.
Yeah. What do you got coming up, Adam?
Well, I got my new channel that's coming soon. I just finished the intro video yesterday, so that's coming soon. I haven't unveiled anything about it yet, except that it exists, and the first video is coming. I'm going to be doing a lot of homesteading stuff, making axes, making knives, farming, figuring out life in
Nice.
the Swedish countryside, and I'm very excited about that. And then, of course, my Monday through Friday show, Base App Mondays tomorrow, 6:30. And I've got a lot of interviews coming up. I'm going to be interviewing the lectern guy. You know, the guy who stole the lectern on January 6th?
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
God.
he's
done
going
a
to be
couple
joining
shows
me
with
on my
him.
show on Thursday. He's awesome, actually. I've been
Yeah.
following him for a while. He seems really cool. So I get to chat with him. And yeah, I'm just going to be having more interviews. I love talking to people and finding out about their lives. And so looking forward to more.
He sent me a lectern.
Yeah.
Did he? You got the
Yeah.
little one?
Yeah, I
I'm
did.
going to get him to send me one of
You were
those
the
because I
first
want
one
one.
that he sent to. Yeah, he told me that.
Yeah,
He's a
I
cool
need
dude.
that.
Him and his wife. I had a conversation with him and his wife for like a good 30 to an hour, just standing in the lobby, just talking to him. They're good people.
Sweet.
What do you got coming up, Garrett?
My channel, Nega Garrett, I'm going to release a video this coming weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, about LA. Went to LA, hung out with Darth Call, interviewed some people, and got some interesting responses. So that's the video coming out.
Man on the street kind of stuff.
Mhm,
Man and
man on the
woman on the street. There you
No,
go.
just man. Just one, just me. Just man.
Well, talking to no, you were talking.
They don't
to
count
people.
as on the street. I'm the one that's on the street. They're just
Are-
random people. They're citizens.
Okay.
I'm the
But
man
it's
on the street.
it's Nega Garrett, so it's the
It's
opposite.
the
of you.
inverse of yeah.
So
Hey,
it's the
three-quarters
woman
white.
version.
when I go
right?
back to San
No.
Francisco to get the
Oh.
rest of my
Oh,
stuff,
sorry.
you should
Sorry.
come with me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I'll do
you
that.
should come with me. We'll do some men on the street.
Men on the street, which
We'll go-
sounds weird.
Yeah.
When you say
Especially,
it like that.
yeah, especially when we're going to
YMCA
we'll go to
is
the,
playing in the background.
Let's go to San Francisco and be men on the street.
yes. Hey, we go to the Tenderloin.
We'll
It's
do
happening.
Gee.
It's happening
it. I'm
down
down.
there.
I'm down.
Oh my
But
goodness.
yeah, so you can
Excellent.
go subscribe to that. Go subscribe.
Excellent. I've got a show on Rumble tomorrow, so we'll talk about all kinds of stuff. Got a video, latest Rings of Power review. I'm watching a couple things today. We're going to review. I did Matt Walsh's Am I Racist and Tulsa King right after this. Tulsa King premieres
Back to back.
tonight. One of my favorite shows. Sylvester Stallone. It's great. So go watch that. So on the other channel, and please subscribe to all these people, especially Johanna though. Screw these two guys, but especially Johanna.
No, everyone.
And,
I need to make sure I'm following everyone.
And yeah, we'll have you back. We should have you back with Luke sometime. Get you two kids on.
Yeah. Let's do that.
That'd be fun. So thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks to everybody who supported the show. Thanks to all the Nerdrotics out there and everyone who left a super chat and a donation. Oh yeah, I forgot. Our producer
Oh hey,
Hold on.
X-ray.
Oh no, I
forgot you were here.
there's just some more soups. I didn't want you
Read
to
'em.
miss Okay, Raven Black Sparrow for 5 says there's a watch order for all 3 series to watch together.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That's a
Eric,
commitment.
Eric K for $2. Garrett could get another tramp stamp. That would just be a cover up, right?
Yeah. Well, can you get one above the other one?
You
I mean,
do-
you
you
can just
get 'em
do
like-
2. You could do a double one. That's fine.
Double tramp.
sequentially,
Yeah.
right up the back.
Yeah. Right.
Retro.
A pointer
All the way up.
or 2.
Johanna, real quick, you mentioned the Atlantis puzzle earlier,
Yes.
and Garrett found that it's on YouTube, but it premieres in 72 days. Where did you watch it? Where were you able to watch it?
I
'Cause
watched
really
it
want
on
to see it.
Amazon. I watched it on Amazon.
So you can
Okay,
rent it.
so you can rent it.
You can
Yeah,
you can rent it on Amazon. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Cool.
And I think it's worth it. It's really well made and yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've been
I'm very
dying to watch
interested.
a good documentary. So thank you. Yeah, I'm watching that.
Yeah.
Probably tonight.
That's an episode, boys.
Perhaps next
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, maybe next week.
And one more, the Singing Tigs for $2 could listen to Johanna all day. Pretty smile too.
Cheers. Thank you.
The chat is being.
That was a sweet
Aw.
super
Nice.
chat there.
The chat was really well behaved tonight. So you were on your
Good for
best
you, chat.
behavior.
Job.
Well done.
Thank you, chat.
Thank you, Chad. We'll see you next
Yeah, you
week.
guys get nice chats.
I know.
Well, not all the time.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
Today we did.
No.
So thank you. Again, thanks everybody. And X-Ray Girl, what do you got coming up? Are you gonna get some good internet soon?
Yeah. Well, hopefully. So the issue is not the internet; it's actually my Ethernet port. So I got to get that fixed. However,
There's a lot of jokes in there. Have
What?
fun, everyone.
Fix that
Okay,
Ethernet port.
bye.
Yeah, probably a good time to go.
Zing.
See you next week, everyone.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
Nerdrotic.com.
Welcome, travelers, to the fringes of reality, where the strange and mysterious meet, and the thin veil between fact and fiction is torn. Welcome to the Forbidden Frontier.